Dear students, let us begin with a new topic, that is wrongful restraint, that is defined under section 339 of the Indian Penal Code in the heading entitled on wrongful restraint and wrongful confinement. We have basically two sections, section 339 and section 340. Section 339 that deals with the wrongful restraint, and whereas section 340 deals with the term wrongful confinement. So, as per section 339, wrongful restraint means whoever voluntarily obstructs any person so as to prevent that person from proceeding in any direction in which whoever voluntarily obstructs any person so as to prevent that person from proceeding in any direction. This particular line is very important, from proceeding in any direction in which that person has a right to proceed is said to wrongfully to restrain that person. So what does it mean? Here the person doing something voluntarily, that means by his own free will he is obstructing any other person, and so as to prevent that person, so he is preventing that person from proceeding in any direction. So he is not stopping him to or confining him into a particular space, rather he is stopping him to proceed into any direction. What does it mean? Other directions are still open where the person can go, but he has been stopped in one direction, two direction, or three directions, but there are certain other directions which are open in which the person has right to proceed. So the person who had been stopped by the wrongdoer having the right to proceed. If suppose he don't have right, then there would not be any wrongful restraint. Is said to wrongfully to restrain that person. So what does it mean? We have five ingredients. Number one, whoever voluntarily obstructs. So number one, there must be a voluntary obstruction. Number two, to any person. Here the meaning of the person is very broad. Number three, he prevented the person. Number four, from proceeding in any direction. And number five, the person has right to proceed. Then only we call it wrongful restraint. It has an exception attached to it. What exception says? It says the obstruction of a private way over the land or water which a person in good faith believes himself to have a lawful right to obstruct is not an offense within the meaning of this section. So if the person is obstructing a private way, or if the property belongs to the person, or the water belongs to the person, and if the person believing in good faith that the property belongs to him, and he is having also right to obstruct, lawful right to obstruct, then it shall not amount to an offense of wrongful restraint under section 339. As you know, the Constitution of India confers the right to freedom of movement under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. Read with Article 21 and 14 of the Indian Constitution, where every person is having free right to proceed throughout the territory of India, and of course it is subject to certain restrictions mentioned under Article 19 itself. So, a right to movement can be restricted, curtailed, or abridged in public interest according to procedure established by law. So, these constitutional guarantees are available against the state action and not against the individual. Because as you know, whatever the fundamental rights are available starting from Article 12 of the Indian Constitution, that all are available against the state and not against the individual. But the question is, if suppose if any individual violating your fundamental right, then what would be the remedy? What would be the remedy against the individual if he is abridging, if he is restricting you from proceeding in any direction? The remedy is available under criminal law by lodging a case of wrongful restraint or wrongful confinement, depending upon the nature of offense, and not under Article 226 or Article 32 of Indian Constitution for habeas corpus. So if any individual is violating your right to movement, then you can go through section 339 or section 340 of the Indian Penal Code. Therefore, to protect the individual liberty from individual action, we have two provisions, section 339 and section 340, to secure individual liberty. And as you know, under English law, it is also called false imprisonment. Wrongful restraint and wrongful confinement is also called false imprisonment under English law. Come to the point, meaning of wrongful restraint. Wrongful restraint means obstructing a man from moving from one place to another. One person is obstructing other person from moving from one place to other, where the person has right to proceed as well as he wanted to go. So there must be a right to be, and also he wanted to go there. What does it mean? There must be a desire to go. Malice, again, malice is not necessary element under this section. So restraint means abridgment of liberty against the will, against the will of individual, because he is having desire to go, and therefore his desire was obstructed by someone else, and therefore he could not go beyond certain limit. Wrongful restraint, in wrongful restraint, there need not be stoppage of movement. It may be directed into channel different from the direction in which the victim intends to move. What does it mean? If suppose if a person is on crossing, he wanted to go into north direction, and he was obstructed there, and he was asked to move into west or into east, then in such a situation the person's channel was directed into some other direction, and that is amount to wrongful restraint. The question is what we called obstruction. Obstruction here means physical obstruction, and it may be caused by physical force or by threat or eneminess. So here the obstruction means the physical obstruction, but it can be caused by physical force or any threat. When such obstruction is wrongful, then it is called wrongful restraint. If it is not wrongful, or if it is not malicious or involuntarily, then in such a situation it shall not amount to wrongful restraint. For example, if someone is going, and if some construction works are going on, and someone directed him to go uh, through the different direction, then in such a situation it shall not amount to wrongful restraint. A term voluntary is used where it says whoever voluntarily obstructs. So what does it mean? What we call voluntarily? So for constituting the offense, one person must obstruct another voluntarily by his own free will. If he is not obstructing voluntarily, then again it shall not amount to wrongful restraint. So in case of wrongful restraint, the person has right to be and he wants to go. There must be a right to be there, and also he wanted to go. For example, suppose you wanted to go into director's chamber. The question is whether you have right to go, or if suppose you wanted to go into the military base or army base, whether you have right to go. If there is obstruction, then in such a situation it shall not amount to wrongful restraint. The reason is you don't have right to go, although you wanted to go, there is desire to go, but still you don't have right to go, and therefore it shall not amount to wrongful restraint. Again, the slightest unlawful obstruction to the liberty of person where he has right to go cannot be justified and punishable under section 341 of IPC. So even if there is slightest obstruction, then it cannot be a justified obstruction and there would be punishment for that. As you know, obstruction requires desire to move. So there must be a desire to move. If there is no such desire to move, then again there is no obstruction. Wrongful restraint is a partial restraint of personal liberty of a man. As you must keep in mind, it is a partial restraint of personal liberty of a man. It is not full-fledged restraint of personal liberty of a man. So every man is free to move unless he breaks the law. And law penalizes who obstructs such movement. So everyone is having right to move freely, and if he break the law, then of course he don't have right to move freely, rather he will go behind the bar. This offense is complete if one's freedom of movement is suspended by an act of another done voluntarily, that is to say, act done with intention, knowledge, or belief in its likelihood. We have a case called Saminand Pillai that was decided in the year 1882. In this case, the complainant was a wanderer, and there was a police officer. He took him into the custody as a suspect. The police officer was having suspicion over the person and pass him to charge of another policeman, and he was moved from one police station to another police station unless his identity was established, and thereafter he was set at liberty. Matter went before the court of law, and the court held he was sent from one police station to another police station, and therefore the freedom of his movement willfully obstructed, and it is amount to wrongful restraint. Come to the point, another ingredient of this section, that is person. So he obstructs any person so as to prevent that person from proceeding in any direction. So here person means a human being. We have a case called Mahendranath Chakravarti versus Emperor, that was decided by the Calcutta High Court. The question before the court was whether a child of a tender age who cannot walk on his own can be obstructed by any other person. So it was held that the section does not confine to the person who can walk on his own legs or can move by physical means within his own power. Again, the court asked the question that the person who can walk or who can move by their own power can be treated as person within the meaning of this section. What will be the position of paralytic or sick persons who on the account of sickness cannot move? So therefore here, even if a child of tender age who cannot walk by his own is covered under the definition of wrongful restraint, under the definition of person, and therefore wrongful restraint of a child who cannot walk is well covered under this section. Come to another aspect of obstruction. The question is whether obstruction of vehicle seated with passenger would amount to wrongful restraint. You suppose if a person is sitting inside the vehicle or on the vehicle, and if he wanted to go along with his vehicle and he was obstructed, then whether it shall amount to an obstruction or not. So we have conflicting authorities on this point. For example, we have Bombay High Court judgment called Emperor versus Ramlala, decided in the year 1912, and the court held that there is no wrongful restraint if the person sitting in vehicle can go down, can get down and walk without the obstruction. That if there is instruction from the obstructor side that you can get down from your vehicle and you can walk, then it shall not amount to an obstruction. Whereas the Madras High Court is having the contrary view, and the Madras High Court decided in re Penia Pannuswamy, AIR 1927. In this case, where a person was riding on the horse and he was prevented to proceed further, but there can no defense that he might got off from the horse and may walked in same direction. So it cannot be a defense. The court held it cannot be a defense that the person can get off from the horse and he can go. No, it cannot be a defense. Again, another case from the Madras High Court itself, that is in re M. Abraham, that was decided in the year 1950. In this case, there was a driver of a bus. He intentionally stopped the bus across the road in such a manner as to prevent other bus to proceed further, which were coming from behind. The driver was held guilty of the offense of wrongful restraint. Now the question is that which view is correct. We can review the views of the Bombay High Court as well as the Madras High Court. We can say the latter view is correct. The main thing is the person is obstructed to proceed further. The contention that the man can get up from the vehicle and proceed further is immaterial. We may take other illustrations of wrongful restraint. Suppose A took house on the rent from the B, and when A went to the market, B put his own lock on the door, then it shall amount to wrongful restraint because he was obstructed to proceed in any direction. Again, suppose A is on the rooftop of the house and the B removed the ladder, and thereby it shall amount to wrongful restraint because he detained A on the roof itself. Just reverse the situation. A puts some obstruction on the road to prevent the passage of animal on which he is having right to go, then it shall not amount to wrongful restraint. Or we may take another example. Suppose A and B both are the joint owner of a shop. B let it to see. A puts lock on the shop. Now the tenant made the complaint against A. The question is whether it shall amount to wrongful restraint or not, because the A and B both were the joint owner, and only B let him and A puts his lock. Then it was held no, it is not wrongful restraint because he is the joint owner of the property.